In today's show, we look at the waiver wire for fantasy basketball. Who's being added, who's being dropped? Do those decisions make sense? What can we do? Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com. And you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. That's PrizePicks.com, and the promo code is LOCKEDON. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. We're looking at the waiver wire. We've got 3 weeks to go. So it's really hard to be looking at stuff through the lens of rest of season value. Your season might be over after Sunday's games. Hopefully it is. That should be the end of your head-to-head season. It might be over in 1 week's time. Heaven forbid it's got 2 or 3 weeks to go, but we're still going to be here for you. And with these 3 weeks to go in the season, again, we should really just be looking at situations where a lot more players are expendable, where you can move on from guys if the schedule doesn't make sense. 2-game week for Nuggets players? Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. can be good, but he might not be good enough for you to hold. Like, you've got to make those decisions because there's no point having a guy who's got 4 games next week if you're not there for that matchup to count. So a lot of harder decisions need to be made. We're not looking at stashing. We're not looking at wait for this to change. We're not. We just got to make moves and make those decisions as we go through it right now. Warning.
Let's get it on, Gilly.
All right. Let's look at the most added players over the last 48 hours. Number 1 on that list is Timothy John McConnell, as he should be. Now, his schedule is fine. It's not awesome or anything along those lines, but with Tyrese Halliburton out, you just can't find a better option than McConnell out there. And hopefully, look, they do play 4 games this week, so it's actually a pretty good schedule. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's a pretty good schedule. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. That's 4 games in 6 nights starting Monday for the Pacers. And McConnell's going to, Halliburton's ruled out for at least Monday, probably Wednesday, probably Friday would be my guess. I don't think Halliburton plays this week, but I don't know that. But it doesn't matter. McConnell's got the upside here of 30 minutes, 4 nights this week, at least 2 nights, and then the other ones he gets 20. He's a must roster player. The schedule's great. There is minimum value for 2 games, and then, maybe it extends further than that. But it's not like the next guy who could actually fall out of the rotation. Now, I think he's a great add, Trendon Watford, because in the 2 games that Jeremy Grant has been out, he's played 40 and 34 minutes. 2 games prior to that, he was a DMPCD when their team was fully healthy. Now, it seems that, I said this yesterday's show, whenever someone is out, Watford jumps in. They just shuffle things around and he moves in. But he is the 11th man in that rotation. So when everyone's there, he doesn't play. But Grant's not there. They play Sunday, so a lot of people added him. The problem here with Watford is that they don't play until Wednesday, and then they play Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So, I don't know whether Jeremy Grant's quad contusion is going to keep him out, but there's a chance that you could have Watford, absolutely the right call for Sunday. You could have Watford on Monday for 0s, Tuesday for 0s, and then literally Wednesday for 20 minutes, maybe 0. That is a significant risk of holding him. That's a roll of the dice because maybe Jeremy Grant's quad contusion is so bad, like a tank ran into it or something, that he is out for the rest of the week. And then you get 3 games of Watford of 35 minutes over the final 5 nights of the week, and that's pretty good value. But there is also a downside risk that in those 3 games he plays 50 minutes or 20 minutes total, and then you've wrecked yourself because you've held on. Now, I'd love to get some clarification on Grant. I don't think we will. If their next game was, say, Tuesday, I would say Grant probably sits. But the fact that we've got this significant break here, so the last time Grant played was on Sunday, the 12th of March, and the next time is 22nd of March, 10 days later. I would have to expect that he's available. But I don't know. It is tough. We go back to Indiana and look at Andrew Nembhard, who has the value the same as, or the same boost in value that McConnell gets because Halliburton and Mathurin are out, but he's not as valuable as McConnell. But Monday, Wednesday, really strong situation. He's worth a look for sure. I think Mathurin's return, which I don't think will happen, if Mathurin does return, it will impact Nembhard more than McConnell. And then there's also Duarte, who is out. Because they start Nembhard as the starting point guard, and then straight away they bring McConnell in, and Nembhard shifts to the 2. So he's scoring, but he's not doing a huge amount of playmaking. And that's why I think when Mathurin and Duarte come back, it will have a bigger impact on Nembhard, because as soon as they switch over and McConnell comes in, then he has to sort of battle those other guys for touches and minutes. One of the other more added players is, again, just unbelievable that we're talking about Rodney McGruder, but we are, because he's been playing really well. Now, it does impact him that Marvin Bagley is returning. I don't think Bogdanovic and Burks are returning this season. It helps that Livers is out, but with Bagley returning, and they might start Bagley at power forward, that just pushes guys like Omarui down a little bit. The return of Hayes and Ivy together might, that's already pushed Magruder to the 3. I still think that with Livers out, Magruder is solid enough, but I also know that this is Rodney Magruder, that he's not that good, and they play 2 games this week, and he is not, Rodney Magruder, after Sunday, he is not worth holding for 2 games. So while he is one of the most added players, we don't worry about that. Onyeka Okongwu, it looked like they were going away from Okongwu. The minutes were well down, and he'd played 14, 21, 19 minutes. We go, oh, okay, that's not good. And then Snyder went, 23, 25, 24, and we'll play you more than Capella, which makes it very appealing. They also have a very strong Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-back. They also have a Saturday, Sunday back-to-back. So a weird schedule, 4 games. Yeah, he's worth an ad. Josh Okogie is going to have value just because of minutes. He is going to be up and down. There is going to be issues with shooting percentages, but he's, again, someone that you add for Sunday. And then he doesn't play again till Wednesday. Now, if you do want to maximize games played, the value is in the volume. Games played is more important than Josh Okogie. He plays 3 games for the week, which is totally okay. But I would much rather get a Sacramento Kings player in. Maybe that's a Terrence Davis if Herter remains out, or a Malik Monk. Get the Monday, Tuesday back-to-back in rather than hold that spot open for Okogie to play again on Wednesday. So while he is a guy that makes sense to add in for Sunday, I don't think that he's a guy that you just have to hold on to with 3 games this week. Malachi Branham, one of the more added players. It's just impossible to know what's going to happen with the Spurs. For example, Devontae Graham and Sohan are out today, but weirdly, Keita Bates-Diop went from doubtful to playing, and Zach Collins was listed questionable for some reason, and he's playing. So Branham is probably going to start, maybe next to Trey Jones, but I don't know what they're going to do. There's lots of different ways they can go with that lineup. Branham is fine. I would prefer other guys on the Spurs more likely, like if Trey Jones is available, but I get it with Branham. He's very hit or miss. And the last one is literally just for today, I would say, and that is Bismack Biyombo streaming in with DeAndre Ayton out. They don't play again until Wednesday, so we don't get an update for a few days, and Biyombo is absolutely not worth holding while we wait to see what the status is on Bismack Biyombo and also on DeAndre Ayton and his hip contusion. So Biyombo, a great stream for Sunday, but when you see his name on one of the most added players, just understand that is why. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy, but not daily fantasy that you've seen before. It's not traditional daily fantasy with salary caps. It's just player projections. So you might see Bismack Biyombo at 6.5 rebounds, and you go, I think he's going to actually have a big one because DeAndre Ayton's out, so you choose more. Or you go to Josh Okogie and look at his 1.5 steals and go, Okogie, he's going to get more steals, more. So you do between 2 to 6 of those, put them into a lineup, and you can win up to 25 times your entry fee back. It's easy. You can do it in under 60 seconds. It's safe. You can do it in over 30 US states, majority of Canadian provinces and territories, and you can do it for lots of sports. Not just the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, men's and women's college basketball tournaments, European basketball, cricket, NASCAR, golf, MMA, boxing, and of course, disc golf. So download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter the promo code LOCKEDON at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. Let's go to look at the most dropped players in fantasy. And I think majority of these ones make sense. Jalen Suggs is dealing with a concussion. It was a great opportunity to stream him in because of their schedule, but he got hurt, so we're moving on from him, no problem. Jeremy Sohan.
Zohan now!
Yeah, like, I can't trust him to be healthy. Easy to drop him. He's solid enough, but look at his last games. 29-0, 32-0, 32-0, 8-0. There is no way that I want to hold on to that. They have a Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-back, the Spurs. No chance he's playing both of those. With the game that we hear that he's playing, stream him in. Sure, go for it. But otherwise, no. We do not need to hold Jeremy Sohan or really any of the Spurs who aren't named Devin Vassell or Zach Collins, I think. Even though I think Vassell and Collins are going to sit one of these Tuesday, Wednesday games as well. Big Dick Nick Richards. I talked on this show that, hey, there is going to be a time that we're going to be talking about, do we add Kai Jones? And last game, Kai Jones played 27 minutes and Richards played 13. Now, Richards had, I think, 4 fouls in that 13 minutes. That's why Jones got the minutes. But Jones' minutes have gone 13, 16, 27. Now, we don't have an update on the Hornets yet. They don't play until Monday. Well, they play tomorrow, sorry. We don't have an update on Mark Williams. And if Mark Williams plays, it's going to really limit what both Richards and Jones can do. But I think we're at a situation where they play a 4-game week, so it's not a bad week. But is Richards a must-hold? I guess people are dropping because the way the minutes went, 23 and 13 the last 2. There was foul trouble involved in that. I wouldn't be so quick to drop Nick Richards, but if I hear Mark Williams is back, and I don't expect to, if I hear he's back, then Richards is an option for me. I wouldn't drop him. Sorry, try again. If Williams is back, I would be happy to drop Richards. That's better. Josh Green, yeah, look, really obvious. He needs both Kyrie and Luka out to be useful. The Mavs don't even play across the weekend, so he's a very clear guy to drop. And I wouldn't even add him when the schedule makes sense unless we hear those other guys are out. They do play 4 games, but it doesn't really matter for me for Josh Green. I don't get this one at all. Timothy John McConnell is one of the most dropped players on Yahoo. Absolute nonsense. The only reason I can think of is because the Pacers don't play on Sunday, so someone wanted to get an extra game in. But I can assure you that those people who drop McConnell have a worse player on their roster. That is just poor fantasy managing. And if you are one of the people that drop McConnell, I think you did badly. I can't say that 100% because I don't know who's on your roster, but I think you did badly. Dante DiVincenzo was dropped. Again, if this is your final week and this is your last day of matchups, cool, drop him. Who cares? Like, you're not playing again. But I don't really understand the drop of DiVincenzo. Yes, he only played 23 minutes on Saturday. But they play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday next week. Andrew Wiggins' return is nowhere near close. DiVincenzo is not a drop. Emmanuel Quickley is an interesting one. Yes, he is a drop, but also he isn't a drop. And let me explain why. They played on Saturday, and Jalen Brunson was back, so Quickley played 26 minutes. I've said this all along, that with a fully healthy team, Quickley is very much a borderline 12-team league player, probably more 14-team league player who will have very big ups and some downs, making him not a must-rostered player. And they played on Saturday. It was a 2-game week. I understand that. But they also played Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 of the next 4 nights. So while he is a droppable player by the status of, I don't think he's going to be a top 120 player rest of season, 3 games in 4 nights coming up, I probably would have found a way to hold on if I could through Sunday. Because if they play Saturday, but it's like Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's 4 games in 6 nights. That's a pretty bloody good stretch. And the other one there is Delon Wright. I can't make any excuses for that. I don't know why he's being reduced in terms of minutes like he is, but he is, so we drop him. That is a very easy one. We can stream him in, but even the steals aren't even coming for Delon anymore, so we move on. Droppable players. This is more, again, a longer-term view versus a schedule focus section. It's more like, you don't have to have these guys. And number 1 there is Bobby Portis. His value comes if Giannis is out or Lopez is out. Otherwise, he's not worth holding. Those guys will, especially Giannis, will sit some games, I'm guessing. But I don't think holding 18 minutes of Bobby Portis waiting for that is worth doing. Russell Westbrook, I think, is a droppable player. Now, the negative that he brings is pretty significant. They only play 3 games this week, and I believe they play 4 the week after. But I just don't think that holding on to Westbrook with the negatives he brings and the way they were reducing his minutes makes any sense to me. I don't think DeAnthony Melton's worth a long-term hold. James Harden was out last game and Melton played well. But it's turning very similarly into a Bobby Portis situation where the value is going to be there seemingly, now probably less so than Portis, but the value is seemingly there if someone is out and that's it. And I don't think you need that tied onto your roster. Tyus Jones is a droppable player. Do you do it right now? No. You wait We expect that Jar is out on Monday, but then he's probably back on Wednesday. And as soon as Jar is ready, I've got no problem moving on from Jones. And if you need to do it early to get to bank some extra, or you think someone else is going to get added and you want to make sure you get a hold of them because someone made a panic drop of TJ McConnell, yeah, I'd do it. You might sacrifice a big game, but sometimes you might have to do that to get 3 more big games from someone else the rest of the week. Tim Hardaway's a droppable player, just no need to hold him. RJ Barrett's almost the same as Russell Westbrook here, in that we know that his value is a little weird in terms of deficiencies in percentages. Now, I say that he's a droppable player, but as I just mentioned for quickly, the fact that they play 3 games in 4 nights to start the week necessitates you probably hold him. But then after Thursday, he's not a guy like... I would hold Randall and Brunson after Thursday, even though they don't play, unless that's your final week. But Barrett, no way. The Cockroach Mason Plumlee is a really good rebound and field goal percentage stream, but he's just not worth holding on, and he is still rostered in tons of spots. And Sadiq Bey has seemingly fallen out of favor with John Collins back in that mix, getting those extra minutes, which turns Bey into a streaming option and not much more. So he is a droppable player. Today's episode, or Nissan's Electric Player of the Week, or Most Electric Player of the Week, is brought to you by the all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya. The Most Electric Player of the Week is going to go to Joel Embiid for the week. He has played 3 games over this week. He's averaging 35 points and 13 rebounds with 3.3 blocks with a astonishing true shooting of 77%. He's pushed his way somehow into MVP favoritism. He's putting up gigantic numbers for all your fantasy teams, and he's doing it with elegance. He's doing it with power. You can't really stop him, and it's bloody good to watch. Exactly like the Nissan Ariya. The 2023 Nissan Ariya packs pin-to-your-seat power like Joel Embiid and premium intelligence like Joel Embiid, all in one EV. The all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya. The EV for people who love to drive. Shop now at nissanusa.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Built Bar. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar ever, and now you've got a chance to win some Built Bars by going to the Built Bar March Madness bracket. You vote for your favorite flavor, your favorite bar, your favorite puff at builtmarchmadness.com. I'll be voting cookies and cream. You vote for whatever you want. But 50 Locked On listeners are going to win a free box of Built Bars just by voting. You can vote every day in March, and there's going to be one lucky listener who gets a 12-month subscription to Built Bar, a box of Built Bars delivered every month for 12 months. Unbelievable prize. All you need to do is vote for your favorite flavor at builtmarchmadness.com. We know the Built Bars are the best tasting protein bar ever because they're covered in 100% real chocolate and because they taste great, low calories, low fat, low sugar, but high in protein. So when you're looking for a snack or you're looking to get that protein into your diet, Built Bar is there to help you out with that. So go to builtmarchmadness.com right now to vote for your favorite bar or puff and pick up a box while you're there. You can vote every day in March, so hop in and support your pick. Built Bar is built different. Let's look at expendables. What does this mean? This is more looking for the week ahead. Guys that are heavily rostered that I'm not sure that you need to hold. When we talk about making cuts to rosters, these are guys that you might have on your team where you go, they're good. They've got names. They've been useful for me, but is it actually worth me holding on? And I think in these cases, that discussion is warranted. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He's had some really good moments. With 2 games, we don't need to do that. I think the same with Aaron Gordon. Had some solid moments, but with 2 games, we can move on. The borderline one for me here is Maga Porter Jr. And I just think if you are in desperate stakes against a team who is heavily favored against you, holding on for Porter for the week after, for week 23, it's useless. I like Porter's value, but he might be the 190th best player over this next week. And despite him having better value the week after, yeah, he might join Caldwell, Pope, and Gordon on this list. I think we've got to have passport legend Jalen Duren on the list as well. While it's very clear to me that Duren's a good player and a good fantasy player with only 2 games this week and the return of Marvin Bagley and the presence of James Wiseman, I don't trust Dwayne Casey to play Duren 30 minutes a night. And even if he did, is that even enough with 2 games on? And then next week when they come back to a regular schedule, what's he going to do to run that rotation with those 3 big men? I'm very worried about that. So while it would hurt to give up on Duren, I don't think it sinks you. Kyle Lowry is also on this list.
Double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon.
He probably should have just been on the droppable list, to be honest. He's on low minutes after that insane 36 minutes in his first game back. There's just no value for me. If he's going to sit back-to-backs, he's going to be on low minutes. You don't need to hold him, even though he's a big name. Now, Emmanuel Quickly's on this list as well. I've already mentioned that. He is expendable after Thursday. Hold him through Thursday and then drop him. That's a clear drop. They don't play again for the rest of the week, and he's not good enough to maintain that roster spot through next week. Austin Reeves and Dennis Schroeder. LeBron isn't coming back this week, but they're solid. Don't get me wrong. Reeves is putting up good numbers. I'd have Reeves over Schroeder. But with no game until Wednesday and only 3 games on, I think dropping them after Sunday's game against the Magic, both Schroeder and Reeves, makes sense. Get some other players in Monday, Tuesday. Go back to them Wednesday, Friday, no problem. But I wouldn't bother with holding them. I don't think they're good enough to be considered guys you can't drop. And the last name on this list is Paolo Banchero. Because, let's be honest, for a category league, he's been really bad. Since he started the season, he's been bad. He's not top 100. I don't even think he's top 180 over the last month or two because his percentages are horrendous, both field goals and free throws on big volume. The defensive numbers have fallen away. The usage has even fallen away somewhat. And they play only 3 games, so the volume doesn't get you there. The value isn't in the volume here for Paolo, but you're still going to get the big negatives. Now, it is a ballsy decision to drop Paolo Banchero, and likely if you've got Paolo, your team is sort of built around having that instability in percentages. But look at your matchup. If you're in a situation where you might be able to win free throws or win field goals, or you're really strong there and you go, this is, if he plays, it might weaken me. Drop him. It's only 3 games that he plays, so he's not in the upper echelon of games played. And he's probably going to do more harm than good. It's a risky call because it's Paolo Banchero, but if you just look at the numbers, we should be treating him like RJ Barrett. Or Russell Westbrook, really. Russell Westbrook with fewer assists versus a guy that was top 70 for a stretch. Because the negative impact of his percentages has been massive, and it's been huge for a long time. These guys are all top 100 over the last week. TJ McConnell. I don't know why he was dropped. Dracaris Levert. Really strong stretch. Some of it has been without other players, most notably Jarrett Allen. But he's been great. Now, they only do play 3 games next week. He's probably worth a hold. I have very little faith in Levert maintaining this level of efficiency and production, though. So if you did want to hold him, I get it. But if you want to drop him, I also get it. Aaron Nesmith has been a top 100 player over the last week. He is really playing well. He's getting minutes consistency. It is helping that Mathurin, Halliburton, and Duarte are all out. And as long as they are out, I feel more confidence in Nesmith as an option. But if they return, I don't, because we've seen that many times. But he is looking pretty good at the moment. Rodney Gruder's top 100. Talked about that already. The 2-game week just means it's not useful. Lou Dort somehow has been top 100. I do not trust Lou Dort in the slightest.
No, my son is also named Bort.
Midwest Dylan Brooks is out there jacking your field goal percentage at any point. And he's just not good enough to me. Like, he's not high enough usage to make up for that sort of production. He's been good. He's in a nice little stretch. I don't trust it. Corey Joseph, much like Magruder, has been really good with a lot of players out, but he's a very clear drop. We don't worry about him. Trendon Watford, yeah, we loved it. We love what he's doing. My worry is the no games Monday, Tuesday, and the fact that Grant might return Wednesday. I get it, but I'm not sure I'd be stuck on holding him through the beginning of next week. And then Kobe White, with the injury to Alex Caruso, who left the game with a foot sprain in a walking boot. I think Caruso is going to miss most of the week. And that means we get boost to Pat Beverly, we get boost to Pat Williams, and we get boost to Kobe White, who's played 28, 22, and 27 minutes the last 3 games anyway. And he's showing a few other things, some assists, some steals, he's hitting threes. He's at least, Kobe White here, making a claim. Well, they played Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Actually, they play 4 games this week on an on-off schedule. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. 4 games. The potential of Caruso being out. It's a little bit like he's playing well, and it's a little bit of a sneaky ad. It's a definite 14-team league ad for Kobe. And in a 12, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Let's have a look at the start of the week. Monday through Thursday, what names can we have a look at to really boost us early in the week? McConnell's there. Yes, obvious. Isaiah Hartenstein. He's almost splitting minutes with Mitchie Robinson. Like, he gets 22, 23 a night. Very easy 12-team ad with 3 games in 4 nights. Very easy. Now, it could blow up and he might play 18 minutes and have 0 points. But especially if you're looking for rebounds, blocks, field goals, Hartenstein is a good ad with a good schedule. DiVincenzo, I don't know why he was dropped. I would make sure he is rostered. Taylor Horton-Tucker is a good option for the start of the week. Xavier T. Illman is a little bit iffy. But we did see last game, thankfully, after 5 straight games of under 30 minutes, last game against the Warriors, he went back over 30. Maybe they play him a little bit more when Morant returns. I'm not sure, but it was an encouraging sign, and I'm back on adding him to see what happens. Joshie Richardson, Daniel Gafford, they are very up and down to me. Last game without Porzingis, Gafford didn't even get to 20 minutes due to foul trouble, which was an opportunity for him to put up a big performance. But, I think we still got to roll with him, because there is a chance of a 10 and 10 with 2 blocks every night he's out there, even if he plays 24 minutes. And then there's Jordan Nwora. With the absences there with Mathurin, Duarte, and Halliburton, Nwora and Neesmith are actually able to play together. Nwora is starting. He's putting up good numbers. I like Nwora as a 12-team league guy, especially to begin the week. And some other names that are just worth mentioning here. Sandro Mamakilishvili, just keep an eye on him with San Antonio with a Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-back coming up. Zach Collins probably sits one of those games, either against the Pelicans or the Bucks. And then you go to Mamu, who'll be their starting center, and he becomes a stream at least on that day. Kai Jones, a name to watch. If Mark Williams is out, I don't mind streaming Kai in on any night the Hornets play. Probably more 14-team leagues, but he's a name that we've got to watch here. He's not a very good player, but he does have a good fantasy game. Cole Anthony, he was a guy that I highlighted last week, and I think it paid off pretty well. With Suggs out, we do look at Cole as someone who probably should be on a roster at the moment. Now, they don't play till Tuesday and then Thursday, Sunday, so only 3 games, but I do believe he is worth having for now. Eric Gordon's getting strong minutes for the Clippers. It's not going to be fantastic, but his points and threes are there. His minutes are there. They don't play until Tuesday again, so they've got a day off there on Monday. He's not a bad ad, but he's not someone I'm falling over. Josh Green, we talked about him already. I don't think he's worth holding. One to watch here in Orlando is the Dart, Goga Badadze.
Problem with my Gogo-mobile. Gogo-mobile? No, not the Dart. Not the Dart.
Goga took over the backup spot from Mo Wagner last game. I don't think he did anything particularly great, but Wagner got 0 minutes and Bol played 5, and Goga played mid-teens in minutes. And that means for deeper leagues, when you're looking for desperation big man numbers, Goga's an option now. Joe Ingles, I think Joe Ingles is a very interesting 12-team stream. Watch the back-to-backs because you'll sit them sometimes, and they don't play until Wednesday, so you don't need to rush to grab. If you do have him for a Sunday, that's fine. You don't have to rush to grab him, but for the Wednesday, Friday group, maybe even Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Ingles' ability to get 6 or 7 assists is pretty useful, I think. And the other name there is Chris Dunn, who should be rostered at least for this week while Colin Sexton is out. I don't know if Sexton's coming back. But Dunn, probably his worst game last time out against Boston, but they play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so a really good schedule there as well. The 2 games in 3 nights to start the week is good. He should get 22 minutes a night there and be able to put up pretty good numbers, and I think he's worth looking at. And that, guys, will do it for me today. Don't forget to follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on the Odyssey app. And if you're here on YouTube, thumb it up and leave those comments down below. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.